Here we go. Saturday, UFC Fight Night 133 in Boise, Idaho. Junior Dos Santos, former UFC heavyweight champion, versus Blagoy Ivanov, former WSOF, now known as PFL. He's their former champion. What a fight. Junior Dos Santos is the favorite at minus 170. 170, 175. Blagoy Ivanov about plus 140, plus 145. He is your underdog. Dan, Tom, what do you think, man? What goes down in the main event up in Boise, Idaho?
This is an interesting spot and kind of unlikely spot where we're finally getting a guy like Blagoy Ivanov to the UFC. Now, for those who don't know, this is an accoladed Sambo and Judo player, particularly in Sambo, where he beat Fedor Emelianenko in 2008 when nobody was beating Fedor in MMA or Sambo. This guy did it. You might have heard of him then, or maybe you heard of him in 2011, 2010-ish, when he was stabbed in the heart and in the lung and survived, had to be put into a self-induced coma, well, somehow came out of that.
Months, right?
Yeah, it was insane, and
tough man.
Made it back in the cage not a year later. Sure, he's only dropped one fight and did drop a fight since then. It was to Alexander Volkov, who's now found his way to the UFC. So a lot of interesting seeds planted with Blagoy being here, but he's got a tricky test in front of him in Junior Dos Santos. Even though Blagoy is a heavy-hitting, durable southpaw who can wrestle, a great combination for an underdog that makes him lively. I like JDS here, guys. It's kind of hard. We don't know where JDS is at, but at his best or at his base and basic, I like his footwork and his boxing to move around here. I'm going to be interested to see if we've got a small cage on our hands, though, that could affect maybe the matchup, maybe even the outcome and method of victory. But I got JDS to pull it off here. Finish if it's in the small cage, decision if it's in the big one.
Goes.
Blagoy Ivanov is a tough competitor. He trains with a lot of tough guys. I just don't know that he's ready for a guy like Junior Dos Santos. Junior Dos Santos actually had a lot of success with this body type, the smaller, rougher guy. So I don't think he's going to see anything that he hasn't seen before. And he's been pretty active training during this layoff. So I'm going to go with Junior Dos Santos in this fight.
Yeah, there's some intangibles there. Ivanov debuting in the UFC. Will he have the jitters? I don't know. We haven't talked about the jitters as much in these last few years like we used to when fighters would come over, but it's just that competition that Junior Dos Santos has been in against. I mean, he's reached the heights of being a champion. Can you imagine fighting Kane for as many minutes and rounds as he's had?
Yeah.
Everything else must seem like downhill at this point, and he's been in there with the best. He was able to get past the USADA troubles that he had, so something tells me he's got a new lease on life, a clear head. I think it's going to be a dangerous Junior Dos Santos out there against Blagoy Ivanov. So I'm taking Junior Dos Santos. I think it'll take him about a round or two to figure it out and knock him out. I think Ivanov will have a moment or two, so I don't think it's going to be a landslide. But I think, again, Junior Dos Santos is pretty savvy and experienced, and I think that's what will come to eventually. So give me JDS here in the main event at UFC Fight Night 133 in Boise, Idaho. Unanimous across the board for all of us.